Hello, greetings, peace, and blessings. Setipu, namaste, ashe. I am Ra'ab Rim, and I am an Amia Newt, watcher of heaven, Jyotish astrology. I'm here with you today. I want to share with you some insight dealing with the natal chart of Black America. Some key points and elements that you can see are very, very obvious and evident. We're going to jump right in, right? So, Black America details, right, was established as an entity February 1st, 1865 at 12:07 p.m., Washington, District of Columbia, USA. Right? Okay. So just kind of try to follow along. Okay, this natal chart of Black America is a Taurus ascendant. What is Taurus? Taurus is all the pleasurable things in life, the things that are valued, right? Music, right? Art, jewelry, women, parties, right? Good food, right? Expensive, luxurious clothing, all the good, pleasurable things in life you can associate with the sign of Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus rules two signs in the zodiac system. That's Taurus and Libra. So you have to look at both signs, right, when you're diagnosing a chart. First of all, where is the ascendant Lord goes to? The ascendant Lord is Venus. The ascendant Lord goes to the 11th house of Pisces, right? The ascendant Lord goes to the 11th house of Pisces, which is incoming gains in elder people, right? Your elder siblings. That's what the 11th house is. Pisces is a very a spiritual, more of a spiritual sign that denotes some degree of spirituality and transformation. Final. So the ascended Lord going into its exalted sign of Pisces, it can be good, it can be bad. It depends on the development of the individual. Because Venus is a guru, right? Just like Jupiter. Venus is also a guru, so there are rules and regulations that apply to how Venus functions in Pisces. If you want to get the finer developments of Venus in the sign of Pisces, you want someone that understands a higher echelon of knowledge and understanding of spirituality and philosophy. Okay. So now Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Okay. So now when you have a Taurus ascendant, usually what you have is the person's health enemies, right? This is the health. Libra, the sign of Libra is the health, right? And there's also opposition in the chart, right? So usually you want to know where this person's opposition is at. You look for the placement of Venus. Venus is in the 11th house, right? So this is where the opposition of a Taurus ascendant is older, right? They're elder, they're older people, right? And possibly more feminine of nature, right? So Black America's problem could come from mostly from women, right? I'm not going to say Black women, I'm not going to say white women, but due to the obvious impact of slavery, I would say probably the European one would be our biggest obstacle. Okay. Taurus. Okay, so now in the ascendant here, we have Mars, right? In the ascendant. What is Mars? Mars is a warrior, okay? Mars is an execution, right? Mars is a professional athlete. Mars is pure energy, pure life force, right? Mars is blood, right? So now Mars in the sign of Taurus, what is that going to do? Mars in the sign of Taurus is going to go after all of the luxury items that are associated with Taurus. Mars is going to go after the women. He's going to go after the jewelry, the clothing, the fine food, the parties, the artwork, the creativity. All of these things are going to go. Mars is going to go after them, right? Like an exit, like a soldier. Okay. Now, with Mars, Mars has three aspects. When he sits in a house, he looks at three other signs, which would be Leo, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. Now, what is Mars going to do when he throws his aspect at these signs? Okay. Being that the sign of Leo is the home, the house, the home, the comfort, right? So this just adds on to the ascendant of Mars being in the sign of Taurus. Mars is going to look at this house and he's gonna obsess, right, over the home, making sure that there's a white picket fence, a house on the hill. They're gonna, right, how they say, keeping up with the Joneses, and so they say, right? So Black America, they want to have the bigger, they want to have the house like, you know, like they're like, they're very competitive when it comes to the home. Okay. And then his seventh aspect is going to look at Scorpio. Okay. Now Scorpio is ruled by Mars. What is Mars going to do at his own sign in the seventh house? The seventh house is the house of relationships. It's a house of contracts, right? What is Scorpio? Scorpio is the house of transformation, unpredictability, right? Scorpio, it's a fixed sign, right? So here, Mars will look at his own sign of Scorpio. He's going to get overly competitive in relationships. Okay. This is where he's going to hit that seventh aspect. He's going to hit that. He's going to be overly competitive. He's going to be aggressive in relationships, not just relationships with your spouse, but any relationship is going to be a martial type of energy that creates a lot of competitive competition, which is why you see in Black America, this is what you see, right? How come it's hard for businesses to thrive and build up the communities because there's so much competitive. They want to be better. They'll step on one another, right? Jealousy and envy, right? The four evils, right? Jealousy, envy, hate, lust, all of these, right? And the eighth aspect is usually the toughest, right? Because it's eighth. The eighth aspect is a aspect of transformation. Okay. So here in the sign of Sagittarius, Mars is going to look at that eighth house. What is the eighth house? The eighth house is the house of other people's money, right? It's other people's money. It's the in-laws, right? So if I'm married, right, this is my wife's family, right? So Mars is looking there, okay? He's looking there. He's looking for, instead of instead of looking for pleasurable items like food, clothing, jewelry, right? He's looking at spirituality and philosophy. Okay. So here he's going to be competitive. He's going to go after and find comfort in spirituality and philosophy in a sensual, romantic way. Because Mars in the sign of Taurus, right? This is girl, these are sexual relationships, right? So in the eighth house, Mars is going to irritate that, right? He's going to cause, certain deceptions in the field of spirituality and philosophy, because these are the things that are represented by the sign of Sagittarius, higher education, right? So you find aggressive nature in these arenas, very aggressive in Black America. When you go for higher education, when you go for spirituality, right? It's a very aggressive environment because of Mars' eighth aspect of that house. Okay. So we have on June 6th, there is a new moon with 6 planetary conjunctions in the sign of Taurus, which is um, Black America's ascendant Lord, right? We're here. The new moon is in Taurus, right? We got Sun, Moon, Venus, right? Tight conjunction, tight. Sun, Moon, and Venus like this. They're combust. So you don't necessarily, you don't see the moon, you don't feel, Venus. Then you have Mercury, Jupiter, and Uranus, 6 signs. I researched this. I went back to see when was the last time 6 planets came conjunct on a new moon in the sign of Taurus. And I went back to the 1800s, okay? It's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years since these particular 6 planets were conjunct on a new moon in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so this is unique and rare, right? You can get some major downloads, right? You can get some major downloads as far as artistic ability, creativity, spirituality, healing, right? Wherever Taurus falls in a particular person's chart, you're going to get these manifestations of the 6 planets that only occur probably once, in a very rare conjunction. Okay, very rare conjunction. So with this new moon, right? This is a time when if you do yoga, pranayama, meditations, libations, whatever type of esoteric, cultural, spirituality that you are familiar with, this is the time to shine. This also calls initiates, right? It's the initiator. It's going to initiate uh, events as they are, it's happening right in the sign of Taurus where Mars is at, right? Well, then you could look at the signs that are uh, ruled by Mars, which is Aries and Scorpio. Okay. This new moon is going to activate these areas. What is Aries? Aries is the 12th house. It's the moksha house. It's a house of spirituality, right? It's a house of jails, ashrams, places of secrecy, right? Hidden talents, hidden enemies. This is the 12th house in America, Black America, okay? Right? These are being activated, initiated during that new moon, okay? And then, of course, we're back here at the house of relationships, right? Scorpio, right? It's the 7th house. Mars, all of these planets are directly aspecting this 7th house. So this is the house of relationships, the house of contracts, right? Relationships, contracts. So yes, there will be some significant event, right? And being initiated in the Scorpio 7th house of Black America. Okay. So moving on. So now what I want to look at is now what I want to look at is the full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so we're going to just move. Just bear with me. The moon in Sagittarius, boom, here we are. Okay, so the moon is going to be in Sagittarius June 21st, which is it's the full moon and it's also the summer solstice. This is a phenomenal event, okay? Exact degree right here. Okay. So the moon is going to be in Mula, right? Mula Nakshatra. So the moon, the solstice is always takes place in the sign of Sagittarius in the nakshatra of Mula. Okay. So now, again, let's look at how the manifestation of this particular event will transpire. Okay, so here the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius, conjunct three planets: Sun, Venus, and Mercury. So this is a different, okay, anytime the sun is conjunct with other planets, it changes the flavor. You understand? Okay? It changes the flavor of the aspect that it's having on the moon right here. Okay. The moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, right? We already know what Sagittarius is for Black America, right? It's higher philosophical ideology, spirituality, culture, right? Higher education, right? Individuals that possess those qualities and also situations. Okay. So now the full moon is going to activate that eighth house. This is interesting because you know that also Mars' eighth aspect is also on the eighth house. So this is a lot of eighth house activity. Okay. And at the same time, during that full moon, Jupiter is going to be directly on the ascendant. Yeah. Jupiter is going to be directly on the ascendant of Black America's Mars. Okay. This is going to trigger a major event. Something major is going to transpire. Okay. Uh, during the summer solstice, the 4 days of the summer solstice are exceptionally spiritual, exceptionally philosophical. Okay. Right? Jupiter being there, that means that you need a guru, right? You need someone well versed in the higher education of spirituality, philosophy, and history, right? Or these are the things that you're already delving into. You're already a part, right, of these particular circles, whichever. For people well versed in spirituality, because of this Jupiter here, this full moon and summer solstice is going to be absolutely mind blowing. Okay, because Jupiter is going to add, right, a very heavy overlay onto that full moon. Okay, right, because that Mars is being activated at the same time that Mars is being activated with Jupiter. Okay, when Jupiter activates this Mars through the transit. This is going to make Mars more philosophical. Okay. The problem is Jupiter is not necessarily comfortable. Okay, in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is Venus is you know Jupiter's enemy. Okay. However, this is going to be in the sign of Rohini. Okay. Rohini is one of the best places to be, okay, for any sign in the sign of Taurus. Rohini is the most fortunate, right? They say the moon stayed with the in Rohini the longest because he was the favorite, right? The moon, Rohini was the moon's favorite in the story of Vedic astrology. It's a very fortunate place. Okay, this could trigger fortune or misfortune, right? Depending on the spiritual development of the individual, of the nation of Black America. Okay, Jupiter could dispense karmic justice back, right? He could say, well, you haven't been doing what you were taught to do, right? Right? You praying to your nose, right? You instead of praying to your spirit, okay? Whichever. This is going to trigger, right, a phenomenal event. Okay, it's going to create a phenomenal event because Jupiter is a ruler of the eighth house. It's transformation. Okay, it's transformation. Ruler of Jupiter is the ruler of the eighth house and the 11th house. 11 is incoming gains. Okay. You have Venus there, but Rahu, right? The malefic Rahu is what's impacting Venus right now, causing Venus to, just right. Uh, when Rahu transits over Venus, it's going to be a toxic Venus, right? Toxic femininity, right? How they say toxic masculinity with Rahu transiting over the Venus of Black America, you're getting a toxic femininity. You know what I'm saying? It's a tongue twister for my person. But it's a toxic feminine energy with Rahu being in the sign ruled by Jupiter. Okay. And also, this eighth house Sagittarius, in the eighth house, right? It's a malefic, right? Right? Jupiter is a malefic for the sign of Taurus. Venus, Jupiter, and Mars, they're all malefic. And the moon is mildly, okay, because it's the third ruler of the third house. Okay. So when you trigger here, again, the full moon, okay, the full moon on June 21st, right, is going to be in Black America's eighth house of transformation of other people's money, right? Right? Of sexuality. The eighth house is also sexuality, right? Okay. It could cause, with these combust planets, you're going to see uh, events and situations uh, fructifying, right? Uh, that are ruled by those significators that are governed by that moon. Okay, you're going to see this could be scandals. The eighth house is also sexuality, right? It's the act of making love, right? Sex, right? It's other people's money, right? Where they go after other people's money, right? Okay. And in the moon being in Mula, you understand, Mula is the galactic center of the universe. If there's ever a transformation that's destined to take place, it will be in the sign of Mula. Okay. And again, the moon cycles for Black America are extremely important right now because you see right here, right here, these are the cycles that the Black America are going through right now. Okay, so it's Moon, Venus, and Rahu are the cycles, right, that predominate Black America. Okay, so you want to know the Moon is not a good sign for Black America. Okay, the Moon is not because you see right here, this is Black America's moon right here. Okay, right here. Okay, you see Moon and K2. K2 is the south node of the moon. It's the eclipse. An eclipse, when there's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, right? Uh, these are the elements that cause an eclipse. Eclipses are signs of misfortune in many cultures. They don't see it as something that's auspicious. Okay. For Black America, the moon, which represents the mind of the nation, is eclipsed. It's right. It's eclipsed. It's a headless horseman. Okay. So you could say that Black America is a nation, right? It doesn't have a head. The head is cut. It's off. The headless horseman, right? So we fumble around in our affairs, right? Fumble around in our affairs, right? We're still dealing with issues, right, from 100 years ago that haven't changed not an inch, right? Not an inch. But see, because of that Mars in Taurus, right, the only thing that they're thinking about is money, jewelry, fine women, fine clothes, right? This is what predominates and eclipses the mind of Black. Okay, again, the moon cycles of Black America are malefic. Okay, they're very malefic because this requires someone who's going to use their brain, use their mind. Okay, and for the most part, Black America does not use their mind, their focus properly in the proper context in which they have in the past, right? So this about brings this little small presentation to a conclusion. I just wanted to share some of these analogies with you. And I'm going to be going over these, researching and going over these details more and more, a little bit more. Again, my name is Ra Ab Rima. Ra Ab Rima, which means one who is one with the laws of God and is at peace. Okay? Until we meet again. Etepu Namaste. Ashe. Peace and blessings.